What is up, guys? Welcome to the Diabetes Daily Hustle podcast. I am your host, Ali Abdul Kareem, and I'm going to interview myself today. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. I got a special subject today. So I was sitting down one day and I was thinking, when we have this thing called the glycemic index. Now, for those of you who don't know, the glycemic index is a chart that lists foods that raise our blood sugar from the fastest to the slowest. Now, it's a chart, it's an index. And, the first one being dextrose or glucose. No, the first one being dextrose, if I'm right. That's the fastest carbohydrate that raises our blood sugar. And I don't know what the last is, but example could be spinach or broccoli. You guys follow what I'm saying. It's an index, it's a blueprint, it's a guideline where we look at the type of foods that raise our blood sugar. Now, if you eat a low-carb diet, an actual low-carb diet, you don't eat the foods that are grainy and sugary. Like, you don't eat a low-carb diet adding sweet potatoes and like stuff that is like quote-unquote healthy, but they raise your blood sugar fast. The whole point of a low-carbohydrate diet is to eat low glycemic and low carb. So like fibrous vegetables like celery, spinach, cucumbers, and so forth. And I was sitting one day and I was like, you know what? There needs to be an insulin resistance or insulin sensitivity chart. And I was like, let me make that. Let me try to take a stab at it. Now, as you guys know, please disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not a healthcare professional. Please advise your healthcare professional before you make any kind of decisions with your medication. I'm just sharing my experiences as a type 1 diabetic, and I hope that the information can, spark some interest and inspiration to pick up that book or to consider new things. And I made this list on Instagram. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, go ahead and check me out. I posted it there. I put it in our Daily Hustle Facebook support group, and I made it from 1 to 10. And I sat down and I thought, I'm like, what's going to be number one? What's going to be the last one? And each little pointer I made of what makes us more sensitive, I really put some thought into it. And it can go into great, great detail. Now, what I mean by insensitivity, now a lot of people can be insulin sensitive and still have terrible blood sugars. I'm not trying to bash anyone, but you can have really high, you can follow a vegan diet, which is relatively making you very insensitive to insulin because you're decreasing your protein. That's if you eat a low protein, low fat diet. You're very insulin sensitive. That's the truth. A lot of the Bernstein followers don't want to say that, but it's the truth. I know that. I've seen the research and I've tried it myself. You do become sensitive, but your control doesn't mean that your control is well. Now, I'm not saying vegans don't have good control. What I'm saying is you can be sensitive, but you can still go low any minute. You can go high any minute and go right back down and live a life of spikes, which we don't want. We want stability. And I've lived very resistant this last month, but my blood sugar was very steady. It was very hard to get it down, and I could easily get it up, but I was very disciplined with my diet. And I knew something was wrong because my basal was too high, and I was like, I'll make this list, and I'll make it from what's helped me get through this period of resistance. I've decreased my basal. Bedtime, I'm back to 13 of Levemir. And 4 a.m., I know this sounds foreign to a lot of people, but hear me out. 4 a.m., I take 9 units now, or 8, I forgot. And I'm taking 4 at 9 a.m. Sorry, 4 a.m., at 9, and then 9 a.m., I'm at 4 units of Levemir. Okay? Now, I'm going to make this list. I'm going to tell you my list. I know I'm like hyping it up, haven't even told you it. And you can give me your feedback about it. Tell me what you think about it. Now, the first one in the list. Drum roll, please. It's potency of your insulin. Okay, now that's not what's helped me, but I think that if we're going through a tough time with our blood sugar, the first thing I think of is my insulin old? Was it overheated? Did I have air bubbles? Potency, I mean integrity. Like, was there something wrong with the insulin itself? Okay, that's number one. Number two, are you rotating your injection sites? I've had these moments where, and I really get frustrated, where I inject my insulin and I look under my stomach or I look somewhere and it's purple and I've created a mark, and in a weird way, or in a normal way actually, I get depressed. I looked at it like, wow, I'm so bruised. Like, this is sad, And as someone who takes multiple daily injections, you have a struggle kind of with injection sites. But I don't want to take off the attention with pump users. Like pump users still really got to think about their rotating their sites. Like if you think about it, you wear a pump on one place and it stays there for 3 days. At least for people who wear Omnipod. I don't know anything about Medtronic or whatnot, but consider rotating your sites. Number 3, this is a big one, and I try to be very common and very, I guess, nice, for lack of a better term. I didn't want to say, are you eating a lot of carbs? Are you eating a bad diet? I wanted to say, change in diet. Was there an inappropriate change in your diet? Now, a lot of you guys know I eat low carb, and I don't want to promote it, right? I don't know where I am with talking about low carb, to be honest. I don't know where my voice is navigating as you're hearing the podcast, but here's my big thing. I respect a lot of other diets, and I'm trying to get better at that, acknowledging other people how they eat, even if they eat junk. Like, the only time I would want to step in and say something, offer something, is when they're struggling and they're telling me, hey, I'm trying to eat this way and I can't, and I'm doing this. You got to understand, you can't eat a whole high-fat diet, high-carb diet, high-protein diet and expect to be insulin sensitive or have good blood sugars. Now, you can probably get away with it with one meal, which is very unlikely. You have to lower one macronutrient. The people that are successful with their diabetes think about their caloric intake as a whole, thinking about decreasing at least one macronutrient. If you do eat a high-carb diet, I'm sure you don't eat high protein and high fat. If you're on a ketogenic diet, that means high fat, low carb, and moderate protein. If you're on the Bernstein program, which is high protein like me, low carb, and tag along fats. Fats tag along, meaning like, whatever comes with the chicken or the steak or the avocados, the nuts, the whatever comes with the carbs and the protein. Consider a change in your diet. That's a huge one for me. If I had to make my list just for myself, it would be decreasing my food. That's it. Decreasing my food and increasing my activity. Now, I don't want to spoil the rest of the list for everyone, but that's what's helped me. Obviously, it's easier said than done. Eat less, move more. That's for everyone who wants to lose weight, okay? So this gets into my next one. Number 4 is stress. I genuinely, you guys know this, I'm not a doctor. I don't know much when it comes to the biology. I'm just trying to talk about diabetes, mental health, really. That's my whole thing. And I don't know how much stress impacts our blood sugar. I just learned recently that Bernstein says that it really does impact our blood sugar, stress. And for me, it impacts me in a sense that I snack more. I rely on food to give me comfort. And at the end of the day, I don't want to feel stressed. Even if stress doesn't affect my blood sugar, I just don't want to be stressed. So consider your stress levels. Cortisol can really spike our blood sugar. So there is some biology and merit to not being stressed. Activity, number 5. That's a big one. I think if you don't like working out, just consider how much you're sitting down. How much are you moving? Even a non-diabetic person who doesn't live with diabetes, I always like to bring this up. If they don't exercise and they don't eat healthy, they're only getting older. They're not getting any younger. They're not bulletproof. So like that puts me in perspective. Hey man, like I want to get in the gym. I want to move around more. I want to lose weight. That's obviously, I'm speaking to people that want to lose weight, that are overweight. I want to lose more body fat. I want to get leaner, and building more muscle helps us become more insulin sensitive. I can't really say it. Sensitive, right? Number 6, hydration. Are you drinking enough water? I really don't know the biology of that either, but take that in consideration, okay? I'm lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 8, pre-bolusing, timing of your insulin. Now, you can have a perfect dose and for whatever you're eating, and your pre-bolus timing sucks, like me sometimes. You're just in a rush, or you just didn't do the math. You didn't time yourself right. For me, I see that, and essentially, I'm going to say something about eating higher carb. If you eat higher carb and your pre-bolus timing really sucks, and your blood sugar is high after the meal, correcting for a high after a meal is like taking a bolus after you eat. That's why the higher you go, the longer it takes to bring down the blood sugar. Now, that ties into insulin sensitivity. If you're, someone who eats low protein, low fat, you might just dropping down quicker after a high. I don't know. I haven't ate a high carb diet in a long time, so I really don't know. And you got to consider your pre-bolus timing. Consider that. Excuse me. Number 9, hormones. Now, I drew an arrow and a question mark. I think that should be way higher, Ali. If your hormones are through the roof, Dawn phenomenon, that should be number 1. So, like I said, take this with a grain of salt. Consider hormones. It's just the list. I'm not going to be perfect. I just want people to see this as a reminder, and I want you guys on the podcast to hear this as a reminder. Number 10, it's probably the least important one, I think, but a lot of people would rank it higher. I think it's a bunch of BS when people say, oh, I get more sleep, my blood sugar is 20 times better. I really doubt that. You can eat burgers and not work out and get perfect sleep. Obviously, it ties in, if you're hydrating yourself, taking care of yourself, exercising, you're probably going to get better sleep. So consider your sleep. I probably got 9 hours of sleep today, and I woke up with this vibrant energy, really good. Obviously I got 2 more cups of coffee, just 2 cups actually, 2 cups, and I felt great. My energy was phenomenal, and I was was it because of my sleep? I'm really energetic towards taking my insulin, cooking my food, uploading my vlogs, working out. Consider those 10, guys. So I really want to say thank you so much for listening, and I want to throw a big right hook. If you guys enjoy this, if you like this, if you want to hear more, please, please, please put a review on iTunes. Let me know what you thought about it. What do you want me to talk about? I hang out a lot on Instagram, guys. It's Ali, Ali.abd. It's really long. ALKAREEM. Now, if you type any of those beginning, you'll probably find me. Shoot me a DM. I'm always hanging out there. It's a big community of everyone with diabetes. I'm on Snapchat, daily vlogs, Diabetes Daily Hustle. So, thank you so much for listening, guys. The insulin sensitive chart. Stay tuned.